Hey friends, what's up and welcome back to this new video on my channel. Today we are diving into Smart Layout for Sketch. It has been released a couple of days ago and I want to focus on a more advanced and pro level of the feature in this video. So if you are new to Sketch and if you're new to Smart Layout, consider watching my first video about it that I will link down below in the video description. I will tell you all about the feature. We will go from A to Z and I will just explain everything in detail. But in this video we will focus on a more advanced usage of the feature and we want to try to make a flexible layout from this little sketch file right here. It's a admin dashboard and I would like to just make it expandable. I would like to make it just like flexible and dynamic. And Sketch Smart Layout with the new Sketch version, I think it's Sketch 58, yes, is giving us the ability to make such layouts, and it hasn't been like this before. I'm super pumped about it. It's released to the public. You can download the new Sketch update or purchase Mac if you haven't owned it already and just try it out by yourself. So right now let's start out in this sketch file. We have different parts in this layout. We have this little bar right here that is featuring top information. Then we have our diagram and stats right here with those graphs, and we have a menu on the left side. We won't focus on this top area, this top bar. This will stay fixed, but let's focus on the menu, these little content boxes, and of course also the graph down here. And we want to make it as flexible and dynamic as possible. So let's just try it out. Let's check out what we have so far. So I'm gonna go and check out all the symbols of this file, and there are like icon symbols. We can just ignore them for this part right now. I think we should start out with the menu, with the sidebar. It's called sidebar right here, and we have a subfolder with the items of it. The little icons at the top of it are the Mac bubbles. I'm gonna call them Mac bubbles. And then we have our items. We have a rectangle, which is like the focused item, and we have a mask. And the mask is basically the background layer. I'm gonna rename this to background. Okay. I will grab those two highlighted items and I'm gonna drag them over to the delivery folder, because actually they belong there. So I'm not quite sure why they have been there outside of this group. Okay, so we have a delivery tab right here. I'm gonna correct this really quick and snap it over here. And I'm gonna also place it correctly on this side and get rid of the rounded corners. Okay, so we cleaned the file up a little bit. And what we are able to do now is to make this really flexible. Let me just get an overview of the folders and the layer structure here. We have all of those different items in the separate folders. That's great. We have two headlines. So I'm gonna rename this to main. It's flipping into all caps, and we have concepts. So right now what I want to do is to be able to have another, like a two-lined item right here, and I want all of the other items in here to snap accordingly into a different position. A little fun fact, what we can use in here as well if I select multiple items is that Sketch is giving us the ability to just flip the items around. So for example, if I go for the one signal API, I can just rearrange it and it's super flexible and dynamic. So this has been a great feature before, And I just gotta say thank you, Sketch, for doing those awesome stuff. Okay, we will start by making our sidebar dynamic. We're gonna go in here and we have our items. And I will just separate the bottom items, the concepts items, and I will also group up the main items. So we have one single in here. Gonna really quick change up the layer order in here. Then we have messages, player ID. Oops. Gonna place this in here. Yeah, then we have the dashboard, which is the first one in here. Delivery is the third one. Notification behavior has to be all the way down here. Users below delivery, and settings has to be the second one. So, okay, we should be good. Let me check that real quick. Promoting, okay, yeah, we got it. So now that we have a correct layer order in here, make sure to always structure and organize your layers in a good way so that also other people who didn't use or create a design can work with it really quick. Let's just create a symbol for this whole background, for this whole navbar item thing. Okay, so we have navbar items, and I'm gonna create a symbol out of that. And the layout for Sketch Smart Layout has to be top to bottom, because we want them, of course, they are starting from the top to the bottom. Hit OK. So we got that. Now we should be able to create more symbols out of this. I'm gonna create a background color, otherwise we won't be able to see the content of this. So gonna use this one, but we won't use it in backgrounds or instances. It's just for our preview right here. So just disable those two arrows. Those two check marks. So now we get an overview of course, our symbols. We can ungroup them. I'm gonna create another symbol for this group of items. I'm gonna call them main items. Also layout top to bottom. And I will create another one of the concept items. Concept items. Also top to bottom. Boom. Okay. I'm gonna quickly give them a background color too, just for the same reason. The exact color doesn't really matter because we won't use it and see it on the final design anyway. So give this a bluish color because the original one was also blue, like that, and don't include them in export and in instances. Okay, so we have a little single item file right here. We have a symbol which is our master symbol, and then we have two sub symbols, like nested symbols, sub symbols. Okay, and in those nested symbols, I of course need to have separate symbols for all of those single entries because we want to make it as flexible as possible. So at the beginning it's a little hard work, but we don't really mind at all. So this symbol will be from left to right because it's organized in that way. Left to right layout. We are also going to do the same with this one. Settings, left to right, hit OK. Delivery to left to right. Users, left to right. And this one here as well. Okay. I think for our little example, I will just keep it that way. We could of course do the same with the concept items as well, but I will just use the first part of our sidebar. And I think that's better for us because we can focus on other things too. Okay, so we have a whole tree of symbols in here. And I'm gonna right now go to our page again. And in here, we now see that we have all of those single nested symbols right there. We can still access, of course, the concept items and then the names. But as I said, we want to focus on the main items. We can rename them right here. And I'm gonna go and just use like a trial and error type of testing in here. So for example, if we go to our settings, layer label, we can add another little label. So maybe we have 2 lines or a sub label or something like that. And you see right now it's not actually moving all of those other elements down. So for example, if we do it like that, it's just overriding it, and we don't have a little like relation in here. That doesn't matter at all. Just go back into our symbols, and in here, main symbols is top to bottom as we said. That's good already, that's fine. When we go in here, we have our single items, also the delivery one of course, and we now have to make sure that the layout is correct for all of the different symbols in here. And what we have to do is to not give them the left to right layout, but we have to select all of them and change it to vertical and top to bottom. So before it was left to right and horizontal, and now we have vertical top to bottom. And yeah, one other thing that we need to do, of course, is to actually give it a fixed width. So maybe let's check, just drag it over here. I think that will do the job. So when we go over and we just change the settings, if we go here, settings, and let's just try out some dummy text. Just copy and paste it 10,000 times. We see we paste it and our menu, our sidebar here on the left side is actually expanding. That's just what we actually wanted. So of course in a real life scenario you wouldn't add so many text layers, but imagine you have 2 lines of text. So you have, for example, your settings, and then you have a sub headline, like for example, change your settings here or something like that. You see that the delivery part and everything below will move down. It will move down, and that part is flexible already, so that's pretty awesome. We have to, of course, yeah, maybe just go back. I just wanted to show you how it works. We can do the same, of course, with all of the other layers. Give them a certain fixed width. We can do it with all of them, just like that. And then we can add a certain text in here. So, oh, Siri, delivery. And then we add another bunch of copy and paste text, and you just see it's expanding the box, and the margins and the spacings between those different items stay the same. And that's because Sketch Smart Layout. Let's just get rid of the text here because it's just like an example, you know, that I wanted to show you. Now, if we go into our actual content area, we see that we have those content boxes. And all of those boxes aren't symbols, but we need to like turn them into symbols. We will start with the first one, real-time data. And we will turn this into a layout. And now I will show you the difference that it will make, because we of course would normally choose a left to right layout, because if we, for example, get rid of one of those items, we want them to be sorted from the left to the right. But we can also go and make a horizontally centered layout. I will show that to you in a second. I will demonstrate what we will do with those with those content boxes with our menu. So we have our nested symbols in here, and because we made a nested symbol for all of the different items, we can now select one of them and hit none. So it's basically hiding the element. So we have a actual, like a currently activated tab or item, and we hit none, and you see all the items in here are actually changing their position. They still have the correct spacing, and we can use the hide feature or the display features in here to work with dynamic menus. So for example, you have another page or another, for example, yeah, you have like an admin and a user, and you have some sort of like role system in your web app or wherever, and you want to have different menu items for a different user group, you know, then you can simply hide those certain items in your sketch file that are just relevant for a certain user group. And we will do the same now with those items in here as well. So let's get into the symbol. We will now ungroup this one, and we will create a single symbol out of all of those content boxes. So I'm gonna just rename them real quick. Content box 1 has a layout from top to bottom, because the layout in here has a top layer, and then it has different layers that are stacked like in a vertical structure. If we would have a layout where the content elements, for example the timestamp, would be next to our date part, and all of those things would be just in one line, we would of course use a horizontal layout, but this time it's vertical. I hope you understand what it means basically. So this is the second content box. Then we go over to our third one. And then we go and create one for the fourth one. Okay, so we have them in here. And what I told you about hiding those menu items can be done in here as well. So let's grab the first one. We can also, of course, with the sketch overrides, change the actual box, because they have the same size. But if I hit none, it's sliding all of our content boxes to the left, because we said the master, because we said the master, like the top symbol, I don't know how to call it, the mother symbol basically has a horizontal left to right layout. But now if we go and say let's have a centered layout, you will see that if I hide one of those boxes in here, all of the boxes will align centrally. So let's grab the second one, like the orange box, hide it, and you see they are aligning in the center of the screen. It's just so dynamic and easy for us to use. It's incredible. So now if we say, okay, we want to, for example, add some text in here, we should be actually able to do that. Right now you can of course override the text in here too. So for example, we have those text layers in here. Let's just try out what happens if we change the content for March, and I still have some copy and paste content that we can use. And you see it's just not doing anything at all. That's because we need to change up our fixed font or fixed text layer, create a fixed layout. Let's try out what happens now when we did that. You see it's expanding downwards, you know, and that's just the effect that we wanted to like use for our trial and error process. So we have those content boxes. Of course, now we see that it's overlapping our graph at the bottom, and we can fix that too. I will show you how it will work. We have the graph in here, and we will create a layout from our graph. I'm gonna call this graph, create a symbol of it, also top to bottom, like that. That didn't change anything at all, but if we go in here now, and if we select the real-time data symbol, and if we create a new symbol out of those two, it should actually, if I'm right, move the diagram actually downwards. Because, yeah, I will show it to you in a second, okay? So this is not called graph, it's called, I'm gonna call this content, okay? Top to bottom layout, group it up, and nothing's happening yet. But let's try out and check out what is happening in here. We will have to get rid of the text in here. And now we see that the spacing between the graph symbol, which is this one, and our boxes is about 33 pixels or points. So right now if I go back into the page, it should actually help us by, and we have to check out, of course, the layout. It's vertical, top to bottom. Right now, if we change the content in here, in one of our boxes, and the boxes are expanding, it should usually change. I will show you what I mean. Okay. It's not working yet, but I think we can do that. It's still doing the same that it did all the time. Let's just try out what we can do to fix this problem. Okay, so what we have to do here is to go into our symbols again, and we saw that our the real-time data boxes are horizontal, and we need to achieve what I was looking for, to have a vertical top to bottom layout for those items here as well. So let's go back into our page and check out what is happening now that we changed the layout. Let's just try it out. Hit enter, and we see our graph is moving downwards, but we have some like fun problems, layout problems in here too. That is no big problem at all. What I wanted to achieve is that the content below our boxes is moving down too. So if we can, of course, go back into our normal state and then check out what was the problem with our boxes expanding downwards. And I think it has to do with our content in those boxes. We will try it out with one of those boxes, okay? We have a layout in an icon, a symbol in here. Gonna fix the size of it, and it should stay at the top. Same with the text. This layer should stay at the top too, and the layer should have a fixed width and height too, and those two text layers should also be pinned to the top edge. Let's retry what we did. Let's go back grab our layer in here, and right now I actually think that the completed box, the orange box, should stay about the same. So the size of it, the background layer will expand, but the content in it should actually stay in place. Let's try it out. If I hit enter, we will see what happens now. 1, 2, 3. Boom! You see, it's just all about using the right features that Sketch is offering us to achieve our effects. We could of course now do the same for these content boxes as well. All you have to do to just show it to you is to go into one of our boxes, grab one of those layers, give them a fixed size if it's like an image or a symbol, pin them to the top edge in our case. Same goes for our line, top edge, and for this little text layer in here. So if we go back to our first page, you will see it's fixed now and just this one is left. We can do some fun things here too. So for example, if I select the rectangle and if I want to say no, the third rectangle, like the third content box, shouldn't change, we can just set this to a fixed size. And this one has to be pinned to the top too, fixed size as well, also pinned to the top. Let's go back to our first page and we see the third box is actually still in place and it's not expanding at all because we set the correct values when it comes to changing sizes. Okay, so let's just do this for the last one too. We're gonna set a fixed size and pin it to the top. Same for the line right here and for this text layer. I won't fix the problem or the width, the height of the boxes. This was just to show you how the layout, the resizing options work. Let's just get rid of those resizing options. So we have expanding boxes again in our layout, just like that. So of course now this looks really ugly. I will get rid of the text in here. It was just about showing you how it actually works, you know. We could bring this and take this a whole step further by adding another master symbol of the body, like of the background layers and of the content within it. Let me try out if that works really easily. We have the top rectangle that is masked to it, and we have a mask file in here. So maybe we can unlink this somehow. Ignore the underlying mask. And then we also get rid of the mask in here. Yeah, so we can get away and ignore this feature. So we have our background layer and this top layer isn't working 100% fine because it doesn't have those 14 pt rounded corners. Okay, so we can select those corners and give them 0% to fix the layout. Same has to be for this one, even though we can't see it. And then we are done with the editing. Okay, so we have our body in here, we have our nav bar right there, and I will drag the nav bar into the body just like that. So we have our body, we have the side header that is above the content, and then we have the background layer for our items. We can also get rid of the mask in here, and I will also place this in our body. You will see about it in a few minutes, because we also of course want this layer right here to be flexible as well. So now we have the body, we have the content, we have this little header in here, and I will just try out something. If we go and create a symbol out of those elements, and it has a top to bottom layout, we can of course just call it body. We should now actually see the body, like the background of the nav bar, and also our content area expand if we do our little trick with the content boxes here. Let's try it out. 1, 2, 3. Boom! It's working. It's working fine, you know? It's just about using symbols and nested symbols and using the right settings for those symbols to make it work. So before we did those flexible layout options in here, I know that I showed you that we can also hide the content boxes and they are aligning in a certain way. Now we changed the layout options for the content boxes from horizontal to vertical, and I'm not sure what it is actually doing right now. That's why I wanted to test this. If I hide one of those content boxes, I'm not sure what is happening. So hide one, and you just see that the content box is hiding and all of the other content boxes stay in place. That's because it has no horizontal layout. I think we can change that up. So we have a symbol around those boxes that has a vertical layout because we want them to be vertical expandable. If we now create a group inside our symbol, we can also set layout options for this group. So for example, now we can create a horizontal centered layout or left to right, whatever we want. Now let's go back into our first page and let's try out what happens now in here. If I now click none, it's aligning our content boxes centrally again. So you see, it's super easy to create flexible dynamic layouts with Smart Layout in Sketch. We did this in like, I don't know, 30 minutes even, or maybe even less. And it was super easy and it's super flexible if I want to change the text layers, if I want to change items that we see or don't see at all. It's just super incredible, easy to use, and it just makes so much sense. Sketch made a really big improvement with Smart Layout, and I wanted to show you a more advanced way of using this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this more pro and advanced level tutorial. It was really like a intense way of showing it to you. I hope you enjoyed the concept and features and settings. If you didn't understand something, just let me know in the comment section of this video and I will try to explain it to you. So thank you so much guys for watching this video. We will see us in the next one. If you aren't a subscriber of the channel yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button. You can also become a member of the channel and you will get some special icons and logos and like some background information. Just hit the membership or join button that is next to the subscribe button, or give the video a thumb up if you enjoyed it. So thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you really learned something new and enjoyed watching it. Thanks guys, we see us in the next one. Bye.